G'day guys, welcome to another edition of Fix It Yourself. Today we're going to be working on the pubic bone, okay? So just at the bottom of the abs here, right on the pubic bone, okay? So this is a bit of an additional video to go along with our groin video. So if you haven't watched the groin video, maybe watch that first and then come back to this. But the people who have pain on the pubic bone will know exactly what we're talking about when we show you these techniques and a bit more about the anatomy, okay? So the person that this is designed for is the person that is running, walking, landing, and just can't stop getting that shooting kind of searing sharp pain right in their pubic bone and maybe shooting up, shooting out, and shooting down, okay? So this isn't for everyone, this video. Most of you probably don't even know that you could treat the pubic bone and have never really felt any pain in this area. But the people, obviously, like I said, that do, will know what we're talking about. Now, the reason why this happens is generally there's an imbalance, okay? So the abs, the groins, just anywhere around the hip complex, there's some kind of compensation pattern, there's a tug and war happening, there's an inability to control the pelvis under movement, and what you're left with is this sharp pain because of all these torque and this pulling forces on this area, okay? So let's have a bit of a look at the actual skeleton behind what we're talking about. So this is the pubic bone right here. So it's the joining of the two iliums. That little jelly disc in there is the pubic symphysis, and that's what joins these two bones together. Now the abs, they come and attach to the very top here, okay? So see those rough edges there? It's all rough here because it's areas where muscles attach, so it needs a little bit of a rough patch to grab onto that tendon, okay? So the abs are attaching there, and then just under that, the closest structure in the groin that we have is the Adductor Longus, which fans down into the femur, okay? You've got the pectineus, which sits up here, a few of the other adductor muscles down here. So there's just a lot going on, okay? And that's what gives you the idea of that tug and war battle, okay? There's two bones that are joining here. There's a lot of tendons that are joining here as well. And when there's a lack of control, a lack of strength, a compensation pattern, that's when you can get this sharp pain right on this spot here, okay? If we look at the actual muscle chart here, we get a better indication of what's going on and all the white bits. You know, we love the white bits. So you can see the different layers of abs coming down and attaching right onto this pubic bone here. We can see this adductor longus coming up here. Look at that white, thick, tendinous fascia there, all joining onto that pubic bone, okay? So quite complex, but it doesn't mean we can't push in there and get the job done and fix it up. If we have a look at the abs in a bit more depth here, we can see just the different layers of things that are going on. We've got the obliques, the rectus abdominis, the transverse abdominis, all coming and attaching onto that top rough patch there that we saw in that pubic bone, okay? We've got another little cool muscle here called Pyramidalis. Ninja loves the Pyramidalis.
Pyramidalis, mate.
And that attaches onto that rough patch there as well, okay? And if we go over here, Ninja, we can see the adductors, okay? So we can see them all coming up to attach onto that pubic bone. All right, so we've got the pectineus, the adductor longus, the gracilis, and the magnus under that.
So but the blue one.
The blue one is the longest. So the cool chart is this one over here, Ninja. So we can see just where they're attaching. So we know the abs are attaching just to this top section here, and the closest one is the blue one, which just attaches underneath that lip onto that rough patch. But still plenty going on here, all the other adductors and that pectineus muscle there, okay? We'll come down here to show you a bit more about this tug and war battle, this kind of toing and froing. So that's the pubic bone right there, and we can see the abs coming to attach onto that top layer, and the adductor longus, that blue one, coming up to attach there as well. So there's just a lot going on at this pubic bone, and when we do have things like weakness, a lack of control, compensations, that tug and war happening, then we can get sharp pain right there, okay? So like I said, if you've got pain right here, please go watch our groin video as well. But if you're ready to fix your pain, Ninja's going to show us how to do it.
Okay guys, so we're going to do some hands-on work with the pubic bone. So with the pubic bone itself, you can really fix it with the hands. So you feel like you're pushing into the actual bone itself, and a lot of times you are, but what you're really doing is you're actually working on periosteum. So periosteum is a skin that goes around the bone, but is a continuation of a tendon. Okay, so there's no gaps and stops in the body. It's all one continuous thing. So we kind of saw from the diagram all the white bits. So those white bits are really thick in the abs and in the pyramidalis and in the the longus. So they're the bits we're going to target. So we're going to push right in. So what I want to do is show you on where I'm going to be pushing. So my kind of little tactic is I try to work on the top of the pubic bone for a start, so you can feel this kind of really sharp kind of thing here. So you use that as a landmark. So I do a thing like this where I go along the top, and then I'll get to the middle, the symphysis, and then I'll jump over here, because in the middle here you got nerves and stuff like that, so it feels a bit uncomfortable. So if you do have a spot in here, you kind of push nerves away, and then you'll try and get into the side of these kind of things in here. So you work along the top, and then you do another kind of one where you're kind of on the top of here, okay? And then when we're doing the longus, we're going to work down right through here and down into this bit here, and we're going to catch all these tendons. Okay, so that's kind of a visual thing, and I'll come back to this when we're working on different things. So it's sort of like one of those things, you'll know your own pubic bone, and what you want to do is just try and, with your pads of your fingers, push in and just really try and locate it and just work it. And what you'll start to realize is when you're starting to feel your own pubic bone, there's just a real kind of knowing about it. There's just an awareness, and you'll recognize these sensations. Okay, so we really want to. So I want to get to we'll start over this one. So the side of the pubic bone is where you want to go to first. So right over here. Okay, I can put it next to me. So I'm trying to find this little lump here. So I'm trying to find that first, and then I want to go on top. So I want to catch any of these muscles that are attaching in here, the tendons on there. And so once you're on it, you pin it, and then what you do, you start to explore different little angles on it. So you start to feel for these spurs. So once you tune in really well, you can start to really feel these little jagged triangular spurs. So they're calcium, and they've kind of built up, and they've made it a bit kind of sore and kind of sharp in these areas. So what we want to do is pin them and then start to change the angles, okay? So you can really, if you kind of had a microscope, what you would be doing is you'd be filing down these little calcium spurs and trying to, reduce it down. So you keep on going. So you go along the top of that, and then till you get to the middle. And then you start to feel for nerves and different little things. And so you want to kind of, if you're on glands and stuff when you're doing this sort of work, you've got to just sort of let those get out of the road and just sort of try and just connect really well with the bone. So with the skeleton, okay? Get to know it. And so with this sort of stuff, if you've had pain in here and you probably didn't think that you could actually treat it with hands-on, you thought you'd need exercises and rest and anti-inflammatories and things like that, but that's not really the case. The problem is the solidified tissue that is connecting right onto the bone, and that it just keeps on getting agitated. Because when you try and stretch and you put, like, one of the things you'll notice when you've got pain in these kind of areas, you feel good when you're warmed up, but then if you're kind of playing a game of footy or basketball or something like that, you'll stop at half time for 10 minutes, and then you won't be able to go again. You lose power, and there's really sharp pains in these kind of areas. So it's when you cool down and then you go again, the rest of your body's nice and warm and it's still got flow through it, but these in here just kind of freeze up and they get really painful, and they're just telling you, nah, I'm not functional enough to keep on going. So you keep on going on these kind of areas. And then, like I said before, you do it right along the top, and then you try and push into the lip, so directly down. So we've done some strokes on here, exploring all these different angles, and then we want to hit into these kind of ones and just try and hit onto all these little surfaces. You can see how they're kind of rough and things like that. Where you got rough parts on a skeleton, that's where tendons hook on. They need to be rough so they can hook on there, and when they're kind of a bit more pitted and things like that, that's kind of an indication that the body deems it needs to be really hooked on there really strongly. You're really anchored on there. And like where the white tissue is on these kind of things like the longus, adductor longus, it's just saying that this is a really important part of the body. So we need to make it out of some better stuff. So what I'm going to do is go onto the front and really try and push into there, and then just try and explore it. Okay, some pushing onto these bits, and we can kind of start to feel if you're on a nerve. You really want to connect with the skeleton and weight on things. So it's just like a real patience kind of game, like that. So you just keep on working on that, going on the lead. So when you feel like you're on something that's really important and kind of really relevant to you, just wait on it, wait for that to melt, and then you just change your angles like that. Okay, change your angles and wait on it. So when you're in the top here as well, you can go up these little scoops like that, and you can feel if your abs, remember from the diagram that Pyramidalis and those really, the rectus abdominis, how they hook into here. So sometimes it might be really kind of sore here, and so you want to follow those leads. So when you're pushing in sideways into that Pyramidalis, sometimes you can feel like it's really thickened up. Okay, so that thickening, hardening in this area here, and you just know when you're on it that it's thick and it's sore. Just with those kind of sensations, you just know that that's something that you want to really follow. Okay, so that's the kind of things you want to do for the top of the pubic bone. But then what we want to do, if we're going to go down the side and into those adductor longus kind of things, we want to find this landmark again, and then we're trying to weave down these things here. And we're going to follow them, and then when we find a good spot, hooked in, and we're going to try and work it out, and maybe we'll have to go down the tendon a little bit more and avoid glands and things like this in this area as well. So because it's really white and attached on really strongly in here, opportunity for stuff to go wrong really. So that's what we're going to search for next. So working into the side of the pubic bone and just see what you find. So this kind of work, you can fix yourself, and the reason that I know this is because I did it to myself 20 years ago, and that's why I've had so much confidence in being able to fix so many other people, or not fix them, but facilitate healing, get the ball rolling for them. So it's like I've had just so many different people that have come good after having no success, you know, and they've seen all sorts of surgeons and had injections and, you know, and things like that. And it's just been the deep tissue work that has got them over the line. One really kind of case that really comes to mind is about 15 years ago. There was a guy, he played for Mansfield, so it's out in the country in Victoria down here, and he played Aussie rules football. He was only a young fella, probably 21 or something, and then he hadn't played footy for 18 months, so hadn't done anything. And so I gave him one treatment, and 2 weeks later he back playing football. And this is 15 years, so he played the rest of his career and ended up coaching footy and stuff like that up in Queensland. So that was one treatment. He wanted him to come back and do some deadlifts and some sprints and all that kind of stuff, but he didn't bloody need it. Just come in for a chat. So it's just sort of just shows you the power that you can kind of, you know, have with hands-on work, and just how effective you can be when you really tune in. And when I'm working on people, I just really talk to them a lot, and they'll just go, you see their face screw up, and you just know when you're on those really kind of burning spots, and you just sort of pin it, hold it, just wait, you know. So it's just like keep on exploring, keep on working down, feeling for where your skeleton is, and just tracing it. So when you're on those spots that are just know that are good for you, just got to push through those good productive kind of pains, and see that process through. Okay, so that's the kind of thing you'd go through. You'd work on things like this, and you can do most of it with your hands on, but we might move on to some tools as well. But the other thing I want to add in here too is, like, when you're working on bony kind of prominent areas in your body, there's going to be some stirring up. Okay, so the recovery time is a time when you've got to be positive and kind of know that your body's healing. You've had some input into it, because you're going to be stirred up and sore for like 2, 3, 4 days sometimes. So don't be worried in that kind of period. You know, you might be feeling a bit more sore than you were before you even started treatment. That doesn't matter. The body knows what it's doing. It was going to thank you for pushing into it and starting to create that change so it can start to heal itself. It was blocked and solid and just couldn't get the job done because, you know, of that solidification, those calcifications that were in there, and you kept on stirring it up and with running and or rest even like that. That's probably the thing that we, you know, talk about the most. Is resting is probably the worst thing for, you know, your pubic bone and your groin injuries. We need to kind of get the heat in and create the flow and get the healing to happen. So in that time after treatment, just know that your body's doing its job. If you've tuned in really well to the sensations and pushed in and worked on it when it's productive, and if it's too tender, too painful, too traumatic for you when you are pushing into the areas, you've got to back off and go broader, lighter, things like that, or come back another time because you might have, you know, got the surface things going, and then you can get into it deeper in 5 days, 7 days, something like that. So anyway, so give the hands a go. That's the way that you might fix yourself, but I think we're going to get some tools out and show you some other ways you can perhaps get in if your hands aren't quite strong enough.
All right, guys, we're going to work on some tools now for our pubic bone. So we're going to start with a lacrosse ball. Really nice and easy tool, because you're going to be using your own body weight to actually apply the force. So to get an understanding of what's going on before I actually lie on it, imagine this is my skeleton here. Ball's going to be on the ground, and I'm going to lie down like so, straight onto the ball there. Okay, so I'm going to put all my body weight down and then just slowly work through these areas, whether it's more up into the abs like this or more straight down on top of the pubic bone. Okay, because we can see that the ball fits really well into all these little contours. Like you see there, just how it fits nicely. If I go up there too, you can see it just fits really, really well, like a nice jigsaw piece. All right, so let's give it a crack. So we put it down here. Pick our spot. You guys should know exactly where your spot is. So I'm starting right in the middle on the pubic bone, but just into the abs a little bit more. Okay, so a little bit higher, right, pretty much right at Pyramidalis, but I can come up a little bit and just pin right on top of the bone there. So it gets a little bit sharper there. Move a little bit more to the right. So that's on that kind of right, kind of rough patch just next to the pubic symphysis. And if I come down even further, then I start hitting that lip. Right, that lip, and if I come down a little bit further than that, then I start to get into the longus. Oh. So you get that real sharp burning sensation. Oh. So just be careful, as Ninja said. Lots of like lymph nodes, glands. You've got a lot of nerves and veins coming through here too. So just make sure you're regulating the pressure by keeping your elbows propped up a little bit. And yeah, just make sure it's a productive pain. It's hard to feel like a good pain through here because it is so sharp and burny and bony. But yeah, those of you that have pain in this region are going to be able to understand what it is, because you'll know your pain and you'll just want to get rid of it so bad. So yeah, coming down even further now, and that's getting, yeah, right into that longus. Oh. Flipped over a couple of little good things there. So yeah, guys, you get the picture. You can pretty much do whatever you want there. All right. What we can also do is start doing some work with a rolling pin. Okay, so if we can regulate our own pressure a little bit more, so we can start at the top of the abs there and just go straight down on top of that pubic symphysis. Okay, so we can hold, kind of hitting. If you see here, I'm pretty much hitting that lip there, and then just like kind of crowbarring into these rough patches all the way along. And then what I'll do is I'll start working down through here. Okay, but for the start, we just want to work through this kind of pyramidalis and abdominal region. All right, so here. Oh. Yeah, just pinning wherever you feel like your pain is and holding. What we can do is we can maybe do some scoops going up too. So we hold there and we just scoop it up. Find a new spot, pin, hold, and scoop up. Start over here on that lip there, pin. Yeah, I've actually got a little bit more there, so that's why it's important to explore. You might not know it's there until you actually start to have a bit of a feel around and see what you got. But yeah, right there, that's a good little bit. All right, so we can also start coming down that lip a little bit more now. So that's where I am now, is pretty much right on top of that lip. So I know that if I start exploring a little bit under that, I'm going to be getting into that longus tendon. Okay, so right on that lip there. Oh yeah, and I'll start coming down. Oh yeah, that's really good. Ninja's having a good time on the camera over there. But yeah, that feels really, really good. Got a little bit of radiating sensation. That's alright.
Go, fixed.
Alright, sorry about that, guys. Anyway, come back in. I'm going to get back into my longus here. So I can feel my gracilis tendon, that really long one that runs down the inside of the leg. I know the longus is just above that. So Ninja, that one there, that thin one, that's the gracilis, and I know just above that is the longus there. So that's the real stringy one you might feel in your groin. Just above that there is the longus. So I know if I can feel that stringy bit and just be above it, I'm going to be on the longus. All right, so feel that stringy bit there, that little flick you can see. And so I'm above that. And then I want to go right back up into that pubic bone there. And I know I'm going to be hitting that longus. Oh, right in there. Oh. Yeah, that's good. Oh, that's really solid. I can do some little movements in my leg too. Maybe just stretch and compress that longus a little bit. But yeah, I'm making sure my force is coming back up into my pubic bone. So if I look on this chart here, if I just went straight down, I'd be hitting this area here. I wouldn't be hitting the longus, which is here. So I'm angling my pressure back up into that pubic bone on a 45-degree angle. Okay, so pin, and then I can do these little crowbarring movements. Oh, that is money. Referring into my lower back a little bit, to the side of my hip. I know that I'm hitting some good spots there, okay? So, hopefully you get the gist of this. Just explore, see where your pain is, work through that upper abdominal, that lower abdominal line, and get into those adductor longuses, all right? So rolling pin, you can use wooden spoon, the lacrosse ball obviously for the lying down one, but yeah, any tool you can find, you can do some amazing work and fix yourself.
Okay guys, you know it wouldn't be a fix it yourself video without the broomstick. So we want this end into the groin area. So we want to get a secure bit on a downward angle, so into a window frame or door frame or something like that. So this is actually an excellent tool. We're not taking a piss. We're actually working on a very serious kind of problem for a lot of people. So when you're kind of in this sort of position here, you can manage the pressure really well. And what you want to do is start on top of that pubic bone. So right on top, and angle that pressure down. Once you're onto a good spot, you know these spots. You've felt with your hands, you might have done a ball or something like that. You just want to really pin the spot. So what you want to do is push into that kind of area. And then once you're onto a spot, start to move, you know, just these angles like that. So then you can go and really hit on it. So we can kind of, you'll know the spot. So this is the detail work. So we do the broader to sharper. So this is right at the end. So you find that landmark that we were looking at before, that little one of the lip, and we hit on that. Then we know we're right on the side of the pubic bone. Okay, so sometimes you want to have pressure going at a different angle. So right into the middle of the pubic bone there, we might want to have pressure like that. And into the longus as well, so we can kind of find out the side of our pubic bone and then just down it a little bit. So look down there a little bit, like that. and then we can hit right on those spots. I might go on the other side so you can kind of see it a little bit better. So on those spots like that, and then what you can do is you push your weight in there and then use this other hand to really hit on those different spots. So you got to know that burn. You kind of would have felt it before. You know those sort of sensations. You gotta have those patience and trust your intuition. What are the sensations saying? You know, they just tell you what the body needs. Okay, so like that, and then you can start to explore a bit of movement. Try and kind of scoop it out where it's stuck. And what is a good thing as well is another angle like this. So you can kind of get into the bottom of that pubic bone there, anything that's sort of pushing into there as well. So you can really use your hand to push into things, your body weight, you're leaning forward and getting some weight into it like that. Okay, and I'm on a good spot there. It's just, it's just, you know, I can manage the pressure, and it's just a patience game. Just to wait on those sort of bits and just wait for those things to melt down and for that pain to dissolve. And that's what you're doing, like it's intense pain for 20 seconds and then it dissolves, and then you change angles, okay? So you're hitting on a slightly different aspect of that real calcified, stuck part. Okay, so if we go find the side of your pubic bone, and then we know down that little bit there, we're going to have that adductor longus tendon. So we want to get into that tendon there and kind of just slowly go into it, because we've got glands and veins and nerves and stuff in this area, so it's a delicate area of the body. So we do want to give it time for those things to get out of the way, and then we want to connect in with that skeleton, with that pubic bone. Okay, we want connection. When you got connection, then you're going to make a change. Okay, so we're waiting for that state change, solid into more of a liquefied state. So in this sort of spot here, then we can start to do these little moves. So we can do little squatting type movements. You know, you might have a pinch in your hip in here, and you can replicate that squat, and you can really work that tendon as in the way that it's loaded and kind of works in normal life. So you can really start to target and have a really kind of specific treatment, especially for you. You are the expert. You know your body. You know the different movements that cause you bother, things like that. So you can really target those spots, and then remembering how it's got a really thick tendon in this bit as well. So then you might feel like, oh yeah, I can feel it's going down. I can feel it's going down into the inside of my leg there. So that's just sort of something that you would really follow. So you just sort of use that information and just really be specific, be patient, trust your intuition, and yeah, go for it. Just be patient, go until it melts. And yeah, just remembering as well, you're gonna pull up sore from this, pushing into your bones. It just does take those 3-4 days to settle, but at the same time, you've got to have that knowing that you push into stuff that's been stuck, it's been bothering you for ages, and it's going to change. Your body knows what to do with that newfound flow. So just give it time to integrate the work, and just know that you're going to be better for it. Okay, so that gives you a good idea of what you can do when you're working on your own pubic bone. You can fix it yourself. Yeah, you just got to have a go, and you'll just know when you're on the right spots, and yeah, fix it up. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more episodes of Fix It Yourself.
All right, guys. So we thought we'd finish this video off with just a little kind of testimonial or case study, if you may. March last year, I think, we got a DM on Instagram from the girlfriend of a professional athlete in America, basically saying that her partner has had significant groin issues, a couple of surgeries, and just was left with a lot of groin pain, pubic bone pain itself, and was lost for answers, and happened to see one of our videos on YouTube, Ninja Treating My Groin, just doing a bit of a demonstration of what we do. And he kind of knew, that resonated with him. He knew that he needed that, what we were doing. He took the video to his club doctors, and they basically scoffed, like most do, when looking at manuals therapy as a legitimate fix or facilitation for pain. And basically, he still, even though he was, judged and had that injected kind of crap opinion, he kind of knew still that he needed this work, okay? So from that first connection, we ended up going over there and spending 2 weeks with him and really giving him all we've got. And from a point where he wasn't able to play one game in 2018, he played every single game last year and has just made the team again for Miami this season, not Philadelphia, which he was when we went over with him. So yeah, I mean, from a point where he was lost for answers, he had the access to the best medical care, as much physio, as much training as he wanted, and he couldn't get right, could he? He couldn't get what he wanted to do.
Yeah, so a lot of it was intuition. Like there's a knowing. We talk about that a bit, like the knowing. And like he actually tried to do what we were doing, copy our treatment. So it wasn't anywhere near the instructional kind of video that we're giving you today, but he just knew, and he was starting to get progress from that very first time that he pushed into these areas, and just he didn't know what he was doing at all, but there was a change the very next day. Like his body started to heal itself because he started to make the changes by pushing in and grinding down these calcifications, these jagged spurs that were stuck in there. So, and it was just sort of, he didn't know until he pushed into it. So he'd had all these he's had a couple of surgeries and injections and doing pelvic floor exercises, all this different stuff, but he hadn't addressed the cleaning part, like the pushing into it to dissolve the what we see as the problem.
And it's not that he knew what he was doing, as Ninja said, he was following his pain, just paying attention to what the pain was telling him, where he needed to go, what felt good, what felt productive. So you don't need to know necessarily what's there or what the names of the muscles are, or if you're going to cause yourself harm. You just have confidence to push in and use that knowledge of where to go, if to push harder, if to back off a bit, and the results you can get are amazing. So yeah, it's just an amazing case study that's really cool. Shows the power of taking back your confidence and just using your own intuition and your own volition to fix your pain. So yeah, don't underestimate the pubic bone treatment, or just treatment at home yourself, using utensils, using your own hands.
I think that was, you might be able to fill me on this a bit better, but that was the main thing we instilled in him, was confidence. We kind of, because we were talking to him on Skype and he was trying to do a bit himself, and then we were doing videos exactly just for him as well, just trying to show him the areas. But that was the thing kind of that he got from us, was the confidence that his body would heal itself. He was on track by exploring and being inquisitive and having a crack at it, and trusting in your own intuition and what you're feeling, and the messages your body, they're such intelligent information, and it's just free. It's free for you to kind of explore, and it'll guide you on the pathway to getting yourself better. So you just got to follow that, and you'll be fine. But we've got an even better video you just watched now.
Yeah, so we literally were just talking about, imagine if this fella had found this video prior to getting in contact with us, he would have known exactly what to do, what tools to use, where to push. Okay, so we're kind of giving you the goodness, without having to come and see us, especially if you live overseas and you don't have access to this, because not many massage therapists or people that do manual therapy do exactly what we do. So this is why this information that we're giving you is so valuable, because we're kind of giving you a bit of an understanding of the journey you need to go on and the angles that you need to get to, and giving you a bit of information about the anatomy and actually what's under your skin, so you know a little bit more about what you're actually pushing into. But we thought we'd just tell you that as a little bonus to this pubic bone footage. And just push into your pain, guys. Just explore, and the body knows best. The body will heal itself. No matter what is going on with the body is the most intelligent thing, living thing, it's just, it knows. It knows. So if you give it the right conditions, you clear the path a little bit, get a little bit of flow through, blood can start to flow, healing can start to happen. Yeah, so you said it in this video, actually. We call this series Fix It Yourself, which is a nice little playful name, but really what we're doing is facilitating healing. So we're just creating flow and kick-starting the body's healing mechanism, okay? Because yeah, the fixing implies that we are the healer and you need us to be fixed. But yeah, we're just telling you that you can do it yourself and your body's a masterful machine.
Yeah, and we'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys.
See ya.
Fix it yourself.